What's up? Welcome, everybody. We talking about sports. It is June the 12th, and it is game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. I got my boy Roland with me today. We're doing a two-man weave. Ben is at work, and Justin's about to get fired from the show. That's breaking news. But
Hey, contract disputes, contract disputes.
who's the guy, Roland, that just left Barstool?
What's
Or
that?
they didn't renew his contract? The guy from Barstool?
I forgot
Is
his
it
name. Is that Rico guy?
Nadu?
Oh,
Nadu,
Nadu. Yeah, there you
Nadu
go.
or something like that. Yeah, we're about to pull that
No, Justin's
on
been putting in
Justin.
his part. It's probably because he's asking for too much money on that back end. So we'll see.
Well, all right, man. Well, cool. That's why we're here tonight. It's Game 5. Do or die for the Miami Heat. Everybody knows the story. It is in Denver tonight. First take. What's gonna happen tonight, Roland?
Well, first of all, it's 3-1. I
Yeah.
mean, hey, are we looking at maybe another Cavaliers and Warriors situation? I mean, the second time in
Oh,
history that this would happen. I'm gonna err on the side of saying no tonight, Ron. To answer your question,
okay.
it's over. It's a gentleman's sweep. Denver's got this. I don't know if they're gonna cover the line. It's 8.5 right now. The last that
It
I
is.
checked, I know it opened up at 9. The total's around 210. It's been trending towards the under most of the series, but give me Denver, man. They're just too much.
All right. I think I think those dogs are on Denver as well, man. But I'm gonna go with Denver as well. We'll dive into a little bit more of the details later. But it's over, man. The Miami Heat are who we thought that they were. So Roland, I'll send it to you right away, or if you want, I can take this. But the Nuggets must what to win the title? And as you can see, I know you're into NBA. You know your basketball. You know your teams. I found this and I thought it was pretty cool. It's the most memorable teams to never win the Golden Age in 2008 and 2009. You have Carmelo there. You have Chauncey Billups. That was the last time that they were ever relevant. So are they going to pull it off tonight and get their first title? And if they do so, what must they do exactly, specifically?
Yeah, like I said right now, I think they're going to pull it off. I don't think they have to do anything different than what they've been doing the first 4 games of this series. That's led to them getting that 3-1 lead,
Mm,
which is rely on their depth that they have. Michael Porter Jr. had a bad start to this series, but that's no problem for them because they were getting contributions from Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown has been pitching in, and then Chris Brown too. It's not Braun, it's Brown. I've
it's
been saying
Brown.
Braun this whole time. The kid from Kansas,
Kansas
national championship winner, about to be
just
a
balling out.
NBA
Yeah.
champion. So yeah, they're relying on that depth and just making life hell for Jimmy and just keeping on running their offense through Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic and just doing that. Um, I forgot what the other part of your question was, but I do want to comment on, they did have this age in 2008 or this golden
Yeah.
age, 08, 09, where they did have Melo, Chauncey. They had some J.R. Smith in there, Kenyon Martin too, where those were some really good teams. But, they've also been on the cusp these last few years,
Mhm.
starting like around the bubble time frame, where they really, started to be taken seriously as contenders. So just got to, do what they've done the first a couple games of the series and I think they'll win this one pretty easily.
Yeah, man. I mean, you mentioned gentleman sweep. We can kind of call that other game, game 2 at Denver, a fluke. It was the first game that they lost all postseason at home. I think they're 9-1 or 10-1 this year. But for me to answer my own question, the Nuggets must just feed the ball to Joker. He's got to get his hands on the ball, whether it's assists, whether it's rebounds, whether it's running the offense through him. Just give him the ball. I always bring up the saying from the Bobby Boucher movie, last game of the year, Brent. Can't hold anything back now. So why would you not try to just force feed this guy the rock, the MVP of, or some people's MVP of the league? He has to touch the ball in his hands at least every possession. If he has to be on the court for 40 minutes, so be it. You want to win at home. You don't want to go back to Miami, Roland. You don't want to give these guys any breath of fresh air because you saw what they did in their last series. Their backs against the wall. They usually play the best.
Yeah,
So just feed your best player. Let him eat. Let him facilitate, and let him get you the ship.
yeah, I agree. Don't want to give the Heat any more chances than they need. Want to lock it up tonight.
Yeah. Hell yeah, Eddie. What's up, Eddie? Taking care of business. Win at home tonight. Eddie definitely agrees with us there. So going along with the trend of these pictures here, I had to throw up this one for you. So the Heat's best chance is what? Is it to bring these guys back again? Is it to have Bosch, Wade,
Pretty
and LeBron
much,
come over
pretty
again?
much, because with the guys that they have on the court right now, it's just not going to be enough. Like you were saying, they are who we thought they were. Don't want to go out and call them frauds or anything like that, but
Okay.
for the fact of the matter is, they were an 8 seed. They did lose the play-in game. Everybody's been talking about that, and they weren't very good in the regular season. They were one of the worst shooting teams, but they kind of caught fire, and kudos to them for closing out the Bucks, taking advantage of some injury situations there with Giannis, and then going on and beating the Knicks and then the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So no discredit to the Heat, but it's just like you said, they are who they are, and this is what they were for 82 games. I think we're seeing it now. They beat the Denver Nuggets, I think, in game 2 to make it 1-1, but they shot like 50% from 3. It's going to take another one of those games. They're going to have to get hot. They're going to have to get hot like they haven't done before since like 2013, 2014. They're going to need to catch fire here.
Yeah.
And then maybe they have a chance.
So no pun intended on the Heat needing to get hot. But to me, man, I'm gonna go individuals here, and I'm gonna say the best chance for the Heat to win is for Jimmy Butler just to be Himmy Butler again. He hasn't had a great finals the way he was playing with the Celtics, and I still think it's not gonna be enough though, because if the best chance for you to win is for Jimmy Butler to just go off, then it's not gonna happen. Because can we agree that Jimmy Butler just isn't that dude? He can create his own shot from time to time, but he doesn't shoot the 3-ball great. And to me, Jimmy B equals CP3, man. The bridesmaid, never the bride. He's the guy who can get you to the altar rolling, but sometimes you just might have a runaway bride that doesn't want to ride with you for the rest of your life. And I think that's the finals with Jimmy Butler, man. He's never going to get a ship. And let's not forget, 8 seed versus 1 seed. This is exactly what should happen. Gentleman sweep, just like you mentioned at the beginning of the show. So the best chance for them is for Jimmy Butler to go off. But even if he does, it's still not enough. So there is absolutely no chance that the Heat come back and win.
I think you bring up an interesting point about Jimmy Butler, because that's kind of something that I've kind of thought about him for much of his career. He's just been a guy that he's made for the moment. He's a guy that in the regular season he's going to put up some numbers, but he's also not going to be a good 3-point shooter. If you want to go back and look at his stat shooting the 3-point ball the last few years, hasn't been pretty, but he's a guy who's still going to lead the team to win. He has the intangibles. He's going to keep the locker room intact wherever he's at, unless it's in Minnesota, of course. But other than that, he's everything that you want in a leader. But the conversation with Jimmy Butler is like, is he an A player or is he in that B player? And the way that I think about it with Jimmy Butler is he's a B+ player, because for the most part, he is a B player for all 82 games of the season and most of these playoffs, a B player. If you take away those big explosions that he had against Milwaukee, where he goes off for 50 and then he goes off for 35 in another game. But if you look at his stat lines outside of that, it's been, I don't want to use the word pedestrian, but he's been getting to 20 points on 20 shots type of stuff, getting to the free throw line a lot. So I say he's a B+ player because he does have that capability of playing like an A player. So it raises his average a little bit. So I still do think he is, beneath the LeBrons of the world, and the top of the upper echelon of the NBA. But he's just there, and he plays in that level sometimes. But I just don't think he's a guy that's there for 7 games. And look at his squad. Like you said, 8 seed versus 1. He needs a little bit more help there to get the job done in Miami.
Well, speaking of a little help, I'm just here chatting with everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining us, Mark. You're with us as well. Who else is here? Mondo is here as well, shouting out the line, 8.5 for the game. But I'm glad that you brought up that Jimmy Butler does need help, because this is somebody who he hasn't had, because he's had a broken hand. And the big news coming out of the Miami camp is that Tyler Hero was upgraded to questionable today, and he is available for game 5. Stay tuned, because Ben has a play on Tyler Hero. It's a prop play that you're going to want to, maybe put in and win some money on. First question, does he play tonight? Because, like, do you think, I mean, he's going to be suited up, right? He's not going to have the the bucket hat on tonight?
Yeah, he'll play. He'll
Will he
play for
play?
sure. I mean, I don't think they would have made this announcement if he wasn't going to at least, go in for maybe 10 minutes here at the end of some quarters and, see what he can offer you. Maybe he hits a 3 or 2 that, maybe leads you to give him some minutes in the middle of a quarter. But like, I thought it was funny. You brought up the comment, end of the year, can't hold anything back now. This is the exact example of that. They're breaking out Harrow out of the fire extinguisher case, and that they're bringing him out to try and, put out this fire in Miami. But it's a little too late from Tyler Harrow. I don't think he's going to be able to go off for 20, because that's what they're going to need. I mean, he's a 20-point per game scorer in the regular season. But then it goes into the question of, like, who's he taking minutes away from? Guys like Caleb Martin playing extended minutes, Gabe Vincent in those situations. So a little too much to kind of mess with here in this moment. But maybe he can go and provide a spark if something's dead, right? Maybe he can give you a 3 or 2 to get the offense going. That's what you're hoping from Harold tonight.
Yeah, and your brother has a big statement. Himothy is getting them a W tonight. He thinks that Jimmy's going to come into Denver and take the winning game 5. Ben's coming in and saying that those bums got swept and the jerseys got to stay in the closet till late October. Well, this is going to be the last game of the year, Ben. So I had to wear my NBA jersey for the last game, the last NBA pod of, the year. So, I mean, I had to bust it out because I ain't going to wear it again for a while.
It's in the spirit of the NBA, spirit of the association, man of the league.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. So pre-series rolling, game 1, the lines were up there. And coincidentally, it's the exact same line. So does that factor into anything that game 1, it was 8.5 for Denver. They won by, was it 104-93? So they won by 11 points. They covered the spread. Now you have, is it somewhat the situation?
No, I just think
could you compare?
I just think that, going into this, these lines are based off of the power ratings, that goes into the series lines that you saw there over 5.5 games, and the series on terms of the money line for the Nuggets was heavily favored. So to me, seeing the 8.5 and the game 1 line from 219 to 210, seeing that tells me 2 things. One, on the spread, the Vegas was right in their power ratings for the first time this playoffs against the Miami Heat, because the Miami Heat have been underdogs in every single series pretty much. They were getting these points against the Bucks, and they were covering and winning those games. They were getting these points against the Celtics, covering and winning those games until they were actually a favorite, and that's when they started losing and lost those 3 games. But to me, seeing this 8.5 just tells me that the power ratings stayed the same. Vegas knows that the Nuggets are considerably better than Miami right now. They're playing at home, closeout situation. Don't fix it if it's not broken in terms of the spread here. And then the under ticking down to 210. It's just been a slow game, heavily defended game. Guys like Jamal Murray are struggling to score. Seeing the Heat in total, I mean, can't even crack 100. So, those are the 2 takeaways I have with the lines. What about you?
Yeah, man, the only thing I wanted to touch on was the MVP odds. It seemed like, I mean, minus 500 was super huge. I think now that's easily got to be over 1,000. I mean, not that anybody would have laid minus 500 anyway, but I mean, that was just, something cool to look at. Caleb Martin has been an absolute no-show. Murray has had 10 assists in every game in the finals, but even then, that's a long shot. So let's just, put a ribbon on at least Jokic being the minus 500
Jokic
MVP.
Right now is actually more heavily favored to win MVP than the Nuggets are to win the title at 3-1. So that just tells you Jokic is winning this MVP no matter what, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
What do you think about Murray
win or lose, right?
Staying in till the last second? Pretty much he stayed in the rest of the game to get his triple-double. I think it was game 4 to get that final rebound. Do you like that from Malone, or it's a little too risky for you?
To me, it's a little bit risky because we know of his injury, history with him. And he's your second star on the team. I get he wants his triple-double, but what is him getting the triple-double going to mean for any stat in the future if you don't have him for the rest of the series? That was a huge mistake, I think, to me, Malone. We've seen it before, whether it's in the beginning of the game, like the Tatum, where he hurt his ankle, or it's just a freak accident, man. I thought that they should have pulled everyone off I haven't seen Malone do that, and they've had big leads, so very, very scary there. But let's go back and let's talk about, well, not go back, but let's go forward because the lines for tonight. This is tonight odds: Denver -8.5 and the 210, which you specifically mentioned. So 9 points, a whole 10 points change from game 1 to game 5. Now, where would you play this under? Obviously, if it's 219, you're all over the under, right? Vegas adjusted. They went to 210. Where would you play if you had to pick a side on the over under?
I'd probably go Denver and the under. Denver covering the 8.5 and the
Okay.
under 210. Just because I think if that happens, the pace has probably been played at a slower pace, and you're getting the offensive production out of Miami that you've been getting these past couple games. So I'd probably lean that way. It's unders and Denver covering the spread. But I do. I know it's kind of like counterintuitive to think about it, but I do think that if the Heat cover, it will go over. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at this. Because the Heat are going to have to get hot to win this game, in my opinion. They're going to have to hit threes at the clip that they were hitting in game 2, and if they do that, they could go over this 210.
We got some nice stat gurus here. Ben's in the chat said the Heat have failed to score 100 points in all of their losses. Mark is saying that he has Denver first half unders and Denver for the game. And Gabe, man, your brother is saying, where's that? It said sucks that the MVP is a regular season award because Joker is him. That's a great point. Some people have said, let's wait till the end of the year, but then I mean, it really doesn't count because obviously all those players that don't make the playoffs aren't going to get chosen, So, but yeah, I mean, really, really great points there from everybody. I just think, man, oh, you know what? We have props, don't we? Let's bring up the props here.
We do have some prop plays.
Yeah, this will be toward the end of the show. Again, thanks everybody who's watching, sharing. Please like and subscribe, and we appreciate all the input. It's 6:52. The game's going to start in about 30 minutes. So I'm going to break these down real quick. The first play is Justin's. So yes, Bam over 19.5 points. We have Caleb Martin, which is mine, over 3.5 rebounds and 10 points. He scored 10 points in the last 3 games. Isn't it crazy, Roland, how we were seeing his point props, man, at 16.5, almost 17 against the Celtics. And now I think it's for points alone, it's only 10.5. Is it something that Denver did, or did he? I mean, was he just shook? No. I heard he had the flu game 1 and game 2.
9.5, and that's why I'll probably. This is the only prop play that I have on this game. Is actually Caleb Martin over 9.5. It's because you're buying at a low. You were seeing his number in the teens. You are right. He did have flu-like symptoms in the first 2 games, so that was probably affecting his play a little bit. And even then, you mentioned it. He was able to get to at least 10 points the last few games. So I like this 9.5 just strictly as a buy low. Miami backs against the wall, and if this game is going to be a little close, they're going to need contribution from the role players. And one of their best ones has been Caleb Martin outside of Gabe Vincent. So.
And when you were talking about Hero taking minutes away from somebody, I don't think that it will be Caleb Martin. I think it'd be more Gabe Vincent. He's shown that he's just a little too small to be on the court. He gets bodied all the time. He gets called for, reach-in fouls. And if the Heat are going to win this game, they're going to need a rebound. And with his height, I think that Spoelstra is a little bit more likely to leave Caleb Martin on the floor opposed to somebody like a Gabe Vincent who's, a point guard.
Yeah, because he's also another guy that can get his own shot. He doesn't need somebody to set him up. He can take people off the dribble himself. So I like that point a lot.
I would take Hero as a spot-up shooter, too, over Vincent any day. So maybe he gets, left open for a couple corner threes. So to continue on with the props here, Jamal Murray over 8.5 assists. These next 2 are Ben's as well. We got to say that they're Ben's because if they hit, he's going to want everybody to know that he swept. Joker over 1.5 3-pointers, and Hero under, our only underplay of the day. We were, saying it could be optimistic. Hero could be hitting some shots, but Ben doesn't believe it. Under 7.5 points, and 2 quick stats on Bam, which is Justin's play. We know Justin likes to go to the well a lot. He's a big favorites guy. Picks the Cowboys, in our NFL shows. But to his credit, in all 4 games of the finals, Bam has had at least 20 points. All right, so he's 4-0 with 20 points. And on Jamal Murray, he's had 10 assists in every game this finals also as well. So
And
those
Bam has
two.
gotten the first bucket a couple games too. He's cashed that
Oh,
first basket prop
saucy,
twice.
saucy,
I
saucy.
haven't
I
I
love
haven't
it.
hit it myself, but I know he's cashed that prop twice this series. The
All
last two
right.
games on layups.
I like it, man. Well, it's that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all we have. Any kind of closing statements that you have here on the future of, we've been talking about what's happened before, what's going to happen tonight, but in the future after the game, if the Nuggets win, where do you think they head? Where do you think Miami goes in the offseason? Or do you say, no, Ron, we don't need to talk about that right now because we're going to a game 6?
No, I mean, I think it's probably best to think about stuff like that because it is going to end tonight. I do think that, Denver's going to, celebrate their championship. They're probably going to look to reload and, go for a back-to-back because looking at the West, you got to like their chances yet again to come out of the West next year.
Great
LeBron's
point.
getting older, already saying he doesn't know if he wants to come back. That was the team they played in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Warriors are getting older. Nuggets are in prime position to make a little run here in the West. So I do think they're going to be locked and loaded, ready to go for a back-to-back run. The Heat, I do think they're going to try and add something here to make another run because I do think the Heat have proven that even though, like I said, in the regular season, they might, not show up every night, South Beach, Jimmy Butler's got his coffee thing going on. He's got other off-the-court stuff, So during the regular season might not always be locked in. And, that might not be fair to say, but fact of the matter is they weren't the best regular season team this year, but they are made for the moment. The Heat culture is a real thing. Heat culture is a real thing. You go to Miami, they have a winning culture. I was listening to something on the radio the other day that they religiously check their players' weight. Like they are obsessed with their players' weight. I don't know if when Shaq went over to Miami, there was that whole thing about him going into camp overweight, that he didn't want to get on the scale, this and that. He came into camp overweight, so they had to work him into shape that first year that they ended up winning the title. Pat Riley, extremely obsessed with managing players' weight and, just making sure that they're always performing at an optimal level. So that just tells me that franchise is about one thing and about one thing only, and that's winning. So I do think they're going to try and, bring somebody in so they can keep it going. I don't know how they do that. My brother's saying Dame to Miami. Dame has named a couple of other teams, but he's definitely another guy out there that could go into the fold if they're really serious about trying to maximize, what they got with Jimmy and Bam Adebayo and some of those other guys there. So, and then, of course, the Spurs are going to drop number 1, and it's all over from there.
Well, I mean, to your point, Jimmy does have a few solid left. Bam is young, great player. You put some shooters around Jimmy, and you just kind of bring in that X factor. Somebody who can give you more points than a Max Strus, obviously, or a Gabe Vincent, or who can give you more than even two of those guys combined. You go get some solid vets. And you said the culture is great there. Spoelstra is great. But I'm gonna leave with this, man. I'm gonna say it's Monday, right? Where we're just talking about work off camera. How good would it be for you to go into work Monday and you clock out and you say, I'm done for the rest of the week? Oh, that would be a great feeling. So I think the Nuggets come in the night. It's Monday. They take care of business and they say, I don't want to travel to Miami. I don't want to go to South Beach. I don't want to have to come back here. Let's start it off now. Let's win tonight. And I think that's what happens. Talking about your Spurs, last little thing. The Nuggets are the 4th team with only 1 loss in the conference finals and the finals in the last 23 years. All those other teams, your Spurs, the Lakers with Kobe, and then the Warriors. And all those teams were what? Dynasties. I saw that little segment before we started. So this could be, like you said, the possible start to a dynasty. We'll see tonight if it all ends. Roland, anything else that you have to say, man? I had a hell of a show. It was super fun. And this could be the last night of NBA in 2023, my boy. I'm glad I got to share it with you.
Fun show. As always, love talking NBA, love chopping it up with you about the association. Sad that it's coming to an end tonight, but that just means that we got to look forward to the NFL, baby. And so I'm looking forward to that as well. So always something to look forward to in the sports world.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right, man, that's it. We're out. Thank you, everybody, for watching.